I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing a freezer meal workshop, and you took the to-go option. So I wanted to just kind of walk you through what I'm going to send you, what you're going to get, and then kind of how I do my setup, just so you can see, so you know kind of how to set up your space too. So you should be getting your spices either shipped to you, or I will deliver them. And what I like to do when I get my spices, and if I get them at my house, I'll do this for you. But I like to take a silver Sharpie and write on the top of them, because I like to keep them all in this nice little basket while I'm working. That way I can just see what they are and just grab them and not have them all over the place. So they're all kind of contained in this little basket here. So here we go. Now, when you, after you get your spices, then I'll send you a packet of papers, okay? And in that packet are going to be workstation cards. And these cards are just gonna walk you through each recipe. And so it just makes it's bigger and you can see kind of what you're doing. I recommend, I send out something called meat prep. And so I recommend that you prep all your meat ahead of time, which will take you like 5 minutes. And that way, whenever you do decide to do this, you just grab your meat out of your gallon-sized Ziploc bag, which I do recommend double bagging. Just grab the meat. So for instance, we're making beef gyros, so 2 pounds of sirloin steak cut into strips. And so the meat prep will say, cut 2 pounds of sirloin steak into strips and put it into bag 1, okay? So you just grab bag 1, and I have this nice bowl that I got at the dollar store. You can use any kind of bowl you want. It just holds up your bag and doesn't let it like flop around, and it kind of contains any mess you might make. And then also too, if you're, are you okay? Also, if you're double bagging, you can, or not double bagging, I'm sorry, if you're doubling your meals, then you can put both bags in here. So if it calls for 2 pounds of sirloin steak and you're doubling, you want a pound in each bag, put both bags in here. That way you can kind of split everything and do the meal at the same time. So super easy to do the meat prep. It just makes it easier to grab the meat instead of having to go through it and wash it and cut it or whatever you're doing to it. So there you go. Another thing that I'm going to include is something called this little fridge chart. And basically you can hang it on your fridge or just kind of keep it set aside. But it will walk you through what to do with each meal when you go to pull it out of the freezer. So the beef gyros, I don't know why I can't say the word. Oh, okay, first we're going to thaw the pitas, and then you're going to make this cucumber lime dip here, and it's just going to kind of tell you what to do. So super easy. So just kind of like a cheat sheet, I guess. And then I include all the recipes written here for you, so in case you want to make them again, you have those. And then I have labels for your freezer bags. This will just tell you how to cook it, for how long. So these go right on the bag itself. And then I always put a shopping list in there too, in case you want to just do this whole thing over again and get it done all at once. You can totally do that. So here is, so you should get that packet from me. And if you're missing anything or need anything else or need another copy, you can always ask me anytime. Kind of my setup, and feel free to do it however you desire. But I like to have a garbage can really close by. I like to have a countertop that's, I do it at my counter just because it's higher up. When I do it at the table for my workshops, I buy bed risers and I lift my table up so that you're not leaning over the whole time, because you are going to be working for, it should take you an hour or two to put all these together. And so you don't want to be like, leaning over the whole entire time. But let me show you kind of how I do things. So I have a recipe stand, and of course Pampered Chef, but you can get a dollar store one. And that just kind of holds up all my cards. And like I said, I do have this basket for all the spices and the bowl here. I always have a cutting board and a couple knives, definitely measuring spoons, because you're going to use those a lot. And then I like to have like a little knife and some scrapers, measuring cups, can openers, garlic press, my citrus press. Those are kind of the basics that I keep out. And then whatever you use to chop with, get it out. Because you're going to do a lot of like chopping onions. And you know what? if you want to save yourself time, you can totally buy anything you want diced or chopped or shredded, like the cheese. So don't feel like you have to buy a block cheese because it says to on the list, or a whole onion. If you want to buy a frozen diced onion, go for it. So whatever will make your life easier, because this is what the purpose of this whole workshop is, to make your life easier. So I do suggest having a colander too, just because you're going to be rinsing a lot of like beans and stuff like that. So that's always important. And a trash nearby, I think I said that. So I also keep a Sharpie, because sometimes I forget that, I didn't buy enough onion, and this recipe needs like an onion added to it. So you can totally just write on the bag, add onion when you go to make it. Another thing is, if you already have your meat frozen, don't feel like you have to thaw it out just for this and then refreeze it. Don't do that. Just keep it frozen, add all your ingredients, and stick it back in the freezer. So hopefully that's helpful. But I suggest getting them all done at once. Just setting aside a couple hours, just setting up yourself a station, getting it done. You will be so happy you did, and you'll feel so accomplished afterwards, especially when you look in your freezer and you've got like 10 to 20 meals in there. So if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to reach out to me, email, text, however, and I'm happy to help you. And we do have tons more recipes, so if you really enjoy this menu, I'd love to share the other menus that we have with you too. So, so thanks so much. See you later.